Welcome into this 3-round mock draft of the Seattle Seahawks. We are going to take on drafting the Seattle Seahawks here for the first 3 rounds. Chase, the Seattle Seahawks have quite the amount of picks here in their first 3 rounds, so a team that we were excited to draft. How are we feeling?
Yeah, feeling good, right? The Seahawks, of course, made all those changes, right? So this draft is going to be a big one for the 12th man over in Seattle. So,
Yeah. And a team too that is kind of in, we want to say rebuilding, but they traded away obviously DK Metcalf, released Tyler Lockett, obviously traded Geno Smith. A lot of confusing things for a team that was just it's like
tiebreaker,
right away, a tiebreak away from the playoffs. So I don't call it a rebuild, I call it a remodel. So we're going to see how we can contribute here to the remodel for the Seattle Seahawks to keep them within that playoff contention now and into the future. So first off, Chase, before we get into the actual draft itself, let's go ahead and talk about key additions and key departures to set us up for the upcoming draft here, Chase. So let's go ahead and start here with the key departures here for the Seattle Seahawks.
Yeah. You kind of mentioned the 3 big key departures. Tyler Lockett, they cut him. He's been there since like the Super Bowl, right? I think I'd be interesting to know. I don't know this for a fact, but I think Tyler Lockett was probably the last Super Bowl winning player on that Seattle team that won it back then. Because Russ had left, all the Legion of Boom has cycled through completely, right? I think Tyler Lockett was the only one left. So that era is officially dead in Seattle. Then the future wide receiver 1, the guy that when Russ left, it was gonna be his team. He took ownership. He didn't request a trade. Has dipped, right? DK Metcalf is out now. And then the guy that came in and didn't write back, Geno Smith, has been traded, right? They're moving on from Geno Smith eras. I'd say it was a successful era, right? You lost your franchise leading quarterback at every position, like the best quarterback the Seattle Seahawks has ever had. They've moved off of him and didn't take a step back, right? That's a successful transition, if you ask me. So Geno Smith served his purpose, but now his purpose is done. So it's time to look for the future. And that brings us to our additions, right? To replace Geno, of course, the big addition, they grabbed Sam Darnold on a 3-year deal that's really just a 1-year deal with incentives. So I didn't like the move initially. We broke it down. Go watch our podcast when we talk about it. Actually, a smart deal for Seattle, so that way they're not in QB purgatory like some of these other teams. They brought in Cooper Kupp to fill that Tyler Lockett role. Not really sure about that, right? They just got a little cheaper, but I think you could have just kept Tyler Lockett, I guess. But the big additions they made for their defense, they brought in DeMarcus Lawrence, right? That pass rush, they drafted a lot of young players. A couple years ago, none of them really panned out. So they brought in DeMarcus Lawrence. I don't know if he's the same player he was for the Cowboys a couple years ago, but it's an improvement to what they got. Then they did some just minimal upgrades, right? MVS is back to stretch the field, or not back. He's there to stretch the field now. And then offensive lineman Josh Jones, the 2020 draft pick for the Cardinals, is now in Seattle. So those are kind of the key additions and key departures, right? Kind of a new look team, right? With the second year under their new head coach, is it McDonald? Mike McDonald. So, yeah, it's going to be an interesting draft.
Yeah, there will be. And they got plenty of picks here early to go through, which is why, again, we're super excited to do the Seattle Seahawks. Love when teams got a lot of draft picks, So we're going to go ahead and get started here. Like I said, so this is a 3-round mock draft here for the Seattle Seahawks, and it's no trades. So this will be straight up how everything is currently listed here. Pick 18, not moving here. So we'll go ahead and get the draft going here, and we'll see what we have first up at pick 18.
Yeah, and as it's going, we've done a couple first-round mocks. We haven't seen those go, and we were always picking for Seattle. And I'm trying to see, there's a player that's just, I even texted you as we were looking this week. There's a player that just fits perfectly in this position, and I don't see him left on the board.
Nope, he went.
Mike Green is the player. I mean, if he doesn't fall to Seattle and go to Seattle, my draft, I mean, it's not going to be ruined. I'm going to be in Green Bay, Wisconsin. It's not going to be ruined at all. But that is the ideal pick for Seattle. A player that Seattle likes, a player that Mike Green would like to be on that team, right? If his play style fits, it's exactly the perfect marriage for choosing people. But we don't have that here, so we're going to have to get creative.
Yeah, for me, not really creative at all. I mean, we have one of my top edge rushers here still available, and I love Mike Green. I'm a Mike Green guy. We've already broken down our top five edge rushers in the draft, so definitely check that out as well. You'll hear all about it. But James Pierce Jr. for me, Chase is right here. I mean, he's fallen here to pick 18. Seattle, we need an edge rusher. We need somebody to go over quarterback. I mean, Mike McDonald came over. He's a defensive guy, right? We saw what he did with the Baltimore Ravens. We need to replicate that here with the Seattle Seahawks. And James Pierce Jr. falling here is a gift. I've said it once. I'll say it again just for the record. There's only two players that have the second and third highest PFF pass rush win rates of any first-round edge rusher if they're drafted since 2017, trailing only Nick Bosa. And that's James Pierce Jr. and Abdul Carter. So if you're all in on Abdul Carter, that most people are, I don't see how you can't be all in on James Pierce Jr. as well. The production is there. There's no question about it. Yes, we understand there's some off-field issues, but that's mostly just seems like him checking out for playing for Tennessee. It's like, hey, take me to the next level. That works itself out. I'm not concerned about it. The production is there. I mean, if your name is even in the same breath as Nick Bosa, I'm going to draft you. So the fact that he's still here to me, it solves the problem for me. So
Yeah.
I'm all in on James Pierce Jr. right here.
Yeah, absolutely. I am too. I mean, again, I'm not a Mike Green guy at all. I really don't struggle with him, but I am a James Pierce Jr. guy. This was my number one draft pick coming out of the season last year, right? All off season, I was a James Pierce Jr. truther. Go back and listen to our college football playoff rankings. I mentioned, this guy was going to lead Tennessee pretty deep in the playoffs, right? That didn't truly happen, right? They got humiliated by the Ohio State like everyone else in the playoffs, but yeah, I don't think that was on James Pierce. I think this guy is a stud. So I think they got a better deal here at 18 than what I wanted to give him. So
Yeah, awesome. James Pierce Jr. here. The slide stops at pick 18. All right, now we'll transition here to round 2, where we've got 2 picks here. Really nice because they're essentially back-to-back, with just the Broncos here in between. So this pick is coming in from that trade with the Pittsburgh Steelers and DK Metcalf. And so now we're back on the clock, Chase. So we've got ahead and taken care of our edge rusher. We've got a prime guy in James Pierce Jr. Now where do we go?
yeah, so when I was looking earlier, I think right, the PFF says their interior offensive line is the need. I didn't really like any of the interior offensive line in the second round, right? Unless Tyler Booker slides, I don't think he's sliding this far. There's a guy there that's I kind of like, and yeah, that's exactly, you read my mind, right? We just broke down our wide receiver rankings. We talk about him a lot. This guy would be an awesome replacement to their wide receiver room, right? So, something that they don't have, right? A big body route running wide receiver that could be a great target, right? Could be, I mean, honestly, I called him Nico Collins and everything, but he could be the Justin Jefferson to Sam Darnold, right? In Seattle now. He made his money off of a big body wide receiver that runs absolute crisp routes. Jaden Higgins screams that to me, right? I'm not comparing Justin Jefferson, obviously one of the greatest in our game, to an Iowa State wide receiver, right? That's not what I'm doing, but it's very similar play styles, right? So I love this pick. I think if they are able to snag this, I'm slowly starting to believe that Jaden Higgins might be a first round draft pick just because of the lack of size in this draft, right? And with his movement. But if he doesn't, he falls right here. I don't know how Seattle passes this up, especially after just losing their 2 receivers. That had
Your 2 receivers away. Yeah, you lose your 2 receivers. You bring in one replacement on a cheap deal with Cooper Kupp, with a guy who has shown he can be elite when he can stay healthy. Right. We all see the only time, right, the only season where he was 100% healthy, he won the Triple Crown. So it's like, man, it's there. He just can't stay healthy. But this guy and then you get a guy coming here on a rookie contract, Jaden Higgins, a guy that can truly be a wide receiver 1. I kind of have him right now as a wide receiver 2 with a lot of wide receiver 1 upside. Get mentored by Cooper Kupp, who's a really smart, high IQ guy. We could talk about his ability on the field, his ability to stay healthy, but his IQ, I think, is up there in returns a wide receiver to coach him up. Jaden Higgins here. I love this. I love this here for the Seahawks. Pick 50, Jaden Higgins. I have him going, and kind of my mocks, I have him going early in round 2. So I still have him as a round 2 guy, but early in round 2. And it looks like Yeah, so like in this case, it was Luther
Yeah.
Burden that went and Jack Beck early round two. Yeah, so I mean that's kind
Ooh.
of crazy. I mean even
Yeah.
Alec and Moore, who I still like, but still went there. So really, I think that's realistically where he'll go. But in this mock, obviously, pick 50 is a steal. I love this pick. We're smashing that all day.
Yeah. Yeah. The two of my favorite players in this draft has already been selected by Seattle. So this is a win for sure. Now, and it just one pick back, and we're back on the clock. This is going to be electric for Seattle fans to come draft night. Like this is awesome.
Yeah, because realistically, I mean, the Broncos here don't really have the same needs as you do. Obviously, they can surprise you, but it's not like you have to like beat them out at it, right? So you can kind of pick who you want at 50 and just pick the next guy at 52. Like instead of like really weighing like, oh, you do it's like realistically, the Broncos aren't going to swipe the second guy that you have there. So this is a great spot here for the Seahawks. So Chase, so we've got edge rusher, we've got a wide receiver. Where are we going here to pick 52?
Yeah, I went to get some enforcement and a true middle linebacker for Mac McDonald, right? They just brought back Ernest Jones. They re-signed him, but I don't think Ernest Jones is a true guy. And I went in my mock. I don't even know if he's available, but I went with Carson Schwarzenegger from UCLA, right? The All-Pro tackling machine come out of UCLA. It doesn't look like he's available, so he's probably selected earlier. So that throws a wrench. That's kind
Oh,
of
right
what.
here, 49, right before we
49.
picked at
Yeah.
50.
Okay. So I think this is his range. I think he's a stud. I'm open for anticipations, right? I like Chris Paul Jr. This is kind of a reach for him. You're a big guy. You're a big Demetrius Knight guy.
I am,
But
dude. I really like Demetrius Knight a lot.
yeah, I think I just went with Carson because that's kind of where my board when I mocked, that's kind of where it fell, right? Again, I don't like any of the centers. I don't like any of the inside guard that they're looking for. We already took care. I didn't want to draft like at my time, Jack Sawyer was still available, right? And I like Jack Sawyer, but I didn't want to draft two edges. We signed edges. We addressed that need. I thought this would be another need. DB is thankfully not a need for Seattle, right? So that's something that they kind of miss out on. And I don't think running back's a huge need for them either. So I went with, kind of the green dot, a guy that Mike McDaniel can mold into that, right? He was very successful when he had Patrick Queen and I can't think of his name, the Bear that
Roquan Smith.
Roquan Smith. Thank you. I can't believe it. I think that's when Mike McDonald's defense was at the height with that. So that's what I meant to get him another guy. Like I said, I'm a big Chris Paul Jr. guy, not a big Chris Paul Jr. in this round. So I don't know. I haven't done enough research on middle linebackers yet to know anything special about Demetrius Knight. But
Yeah, but to me, yeah. So I mean, I'll tell you about Demetrius Knight because, like you said, I'm kind of high on him. I really like him a lot. I think he, as far as like a linebacker goes, definitely more of a run, a running linebacker than it is, downhill guy. Can really diagnose, get in the backfield, and diagnose the runs and blow through the gaps and tackle. More of a run defender than a pass defender. So it just kind of depends on kind of what you're looking for personally in a linebacker. Do you prefer them to be more of a coverage linebacker or more of a run stopper? Me personally, if I've got good DBs around me, I can go more for the run stopper. Like if you need more help for your DBs, then yeah, you'd like maybe like a linebacker that can help you more in coverage. Like you said, Seattle doesn't really have that need. They got Devon Witherspoon, who's a lockdown guy, stud. So and other places around there as well. So you can really come in get this run stopper and just go in there and run stop. And you look. And that's even not even necessarily run stopper, but it's backfield. So it's any like halfback screens, halfback tosses, like anything going into the backfield, diagnosing those plays really quickly, getting in there really quickly, diagnosing those, I think is a really upside here for Demetrius Knight Jr. So I really like him. To me, though, too, as far as the running back goes, like this still might be like Quinshon Judkins, I just saw is still there. He's at least that with the problem with Seattle and the running backs is they have really good running backs. They're just always injured all the freaking time. And it's so frustrating. I mean, not me as a Seattle fan, but me as I have them on my fantasy team to have them where I'm like, man, if you would just stay healthy, like we could freaking go the distance here. But they struggle so mightily as staying healthy. So that was kind of what really, when I saw Quinshon Judkins there still at pick 52 here, it's kind of more like, I think it's definitely more of a luxury pick. Because I'm seeing their just with Kenneth Walker's injured, Zach Charbonnet's injured, like they're just there's always interest. So to have a guy like Quinton Junkins there to come in and really, highlight the offense as well is really actually honestly hard for me to pass up. So the right thing to do, though, I think, is going here with Knight. Sure of that defense, but man, Quinton Junkins there, it's tempting me. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, no, I'm really big on Quinton Junkins as well. We're going to talk about that again sometime next week. But my problem is like Zach Charbonnet, solid. Kenneth Walker, I think Kenneth Walker is a top 10 running back in the league when he's not injured. The problem is, of course, this year he was injured a lot. In the past, he hasn't been, right? This is the first year he got injured. The bad part, he got injured like 3 separate times and came back. But 3 separate times, it was different injuries, right? That's a little concerning. So, I mean, again, the value pick, like to get the most bang for your buck is Quinshon. But just hearing the pros of Demetrius Knight and a team that's going to have to play Kyle Shanahan's run scheme and potentially Christian McCaffrey, getting a guy that can diagnose and read those runs and stop them in the backfield might be the
I like it. Way to bring us down. Way to bring us back down to earth, Chase. I like it. All right, Demetrius Knight, we're locking here at pick 52. Solid stuff. We addressed really some big needs on defense, a big need on wide receiver. This is a perfect draft so far here. And now we're back on the clock here at 82, round 3. So we do get 2 picks here in round 3 because you also got it from, it's from Detroit, but it's from the Las Vegas Raiders for that Geno Smith trade. So it's Detroit's pick technically instead of the Raiders pick at pick 92. But here at 82, Chase, where are we at now? Is this kind of where we finally address the offensive line a bit?
Yeah. This is where I went interior offensive line, kind of looking, right? I mean, I guess you could go exterior too, but I kind of looking. The guy that I was able to snag was the center, Jared Wilson, but Tate Ratcliffe is B right there. I like Connor Colby. This may be, of course, you know why I like Connor Colby, but I've watched. I mean, this guy. I think he's better than what PFF gives him credit for, right? This athletic, but Tate Ratcliffe was a solid guard, right? I don't. Interior lineman's hard for me. I'm not the best at interior lineman, so I don't know what is more of a need for them at interior lineman as a center or a guard, right? I don't diagnose that the best, but this is where I just picked the best player. I've heard a lot of good things about both Georgia players, right? Ratcliffe and Wilson, Jared Wilson. So
yeah,
just
right now it's looking like, I mean, you guys mostly everybody plays right guard, so the ability to play left guard, because left guard is kind of where they're at with the Seattle Seahawks, or they got some qualities on the right side. They need to build up the left side more, so we're kind of looking more at left guard. So not a lot of these people are gonna showing up at left guard, and that's okay. It's really kind of picks right guard versus left guard isn't the same as right tackle versus left tackle.
Yeah.
So it's kind of in there, but when you look at in between, I think here obviously Georgia players is even on offense, it's tough to go against. You kind of got Tate Ratledge with Limpkin. Obviously with Limpkin, you're looking here as far as sacks, like he didn't give up a single sack and 473 pass blocking snaps. Tate Ratledge did give up 1 sack, but he played less. There is something to say here, but he is the only one here that actually has experience at left guard versus anybody else. So for what that's worth, maybe it's not worth much, but I feel good taking Tate here.
Yeah. I think any guy, or any interior guy is going to be a win here, and especially a Georgia interior guy that Georgia players just seem to work out in the NFL. So
that they do. And so our last pick here in round 3, Chase. We've addressed both sides of the ball. We've addressed wide receiver, offensive lineman. We've addressed the trenches on defense as well, and a middle linebacker. So now we're kind of in the territory where now we can kind of have a little bit more leeway, a kind of best player available instead of drafting need. So what are your thoughts here on where we go now?
Yeah, I did something that PFF hates. I went out and got a guy that potentially could be the QB of the future, right? I don't think Sam Darnold's a long-term situation. This is basically a free pick from trading away our QB. I went out and I grabbed Quinn Ewers, right? PFF hates Quinn Ewers. They gave me an F grade for doing that, right? But I think Quinn Ewers has a lot of same qualities as Brock Purdy, right? The biggest thing we kind of talked about, Quinn Ewers doesn't stay healthy. I see this as a complete help me out, complete luxury pick, right? This is a pick that you can just go out and grab a guy to build on, right? Another position, right? I didn't really like a lot of the safeties here, but a safety could be a position, right? They lost last year. They lost Diggs and Jamal Adams, right? They still have Julian Love, but a safety could be another position. But I decided to spice it up to live a little for Seattle fans. I went quarterback, and my best quarterback available was Quinn Ewers, right? PFF has him like way down the list, but.
Yeah, I have him way down the list as well. This is, to me, a way too high a pick in round 3. And yes, you can say it's a luxury pick, but I think it's the luxury pick should be on a player that you're actually more sure about. When I say like your best player available. So now you're not drafting for need. Now you're drafting for best player available. So now on your draft board, who is the best player available? It's not going to be Quinn Ewers here, right here in the 3rd round.
Yeah, no. I wasn't saying that. I wasn't. I don't think he is the best player available.
Yeah. So for me, I think I don't know why. Like I keep coming back to the running back position here for the Seattle Seahawks, and like I said, maybe it's just they've got 4 running backs on the roster, so maybe that's kind of really out there. But you can easily move off some of those guys, and some of these guys can be really great. I just think you need. I mean, Devin Neal is fantastic.
Yeah.
Like even DJ Giddens is here. I'm not as high on DJ Giddens as a lot of people are. I know he's kind of getting some more hype. Like Devin Neal here, we're kind of like a luxury pick here. Pick number 3, your second, 3rd round there. So I would love that actually. Also have your safety, like you said, safety here. But is he? Is Kevin Winsor Jr. really the guy that you're going to want to go to here in pick 3? Looking at, overall grade, 61, not the best. Really hasn't played anything last year at all. Only had 1 full season. So you're kind of like that. Do we want to draft a safety, or do we want to go halfback? Beef up the offensive line. Have a dynamic player like Devin Neal. Devin Neal's a dynamic running back, and I think you compare him. It's tough when you have such a loaded room. But I just really feel like. A running back is what the Seahawks need. So when they go through those injuries, that they can overcome those. Talk me out of it. I don't know, or maybe I don't even talk about it. I don't know.
Yeah. I like a lot of running backs. I like also, this kind of late. Jalen Blue would still be here most likely, right? The Texas running back. He might be a little farther down because PFF again hates him too. Or, I'm not a big fan of him, but Mr. Harold Fanning, get a replacement for Noah Fant. That would be a nice little luxury pick there. Noah Fant's getting up there in age, right? I don't know who their backup tight end is.
I don't mind this at all, dude, actually. I didn't even see him there. I don't mind this. This is actually...
Yeah, so their tight end room...
pretty solid.
Their tight end room is 28-year-old Noah Fant, who... You'll never hear me talk. Noah Fant's my favorite Hawkeye of all time, so I'll never talk bad about Noah Fant. But 28-year Noah Fant. Then they have Brady Russell, whoever the hell that is, AJ Barner, and Eric Sobert. So getting another wide receiver, like in that Noah Fant kind of pipeline where Harold Fanning's not a blocker. He's going to be more of a slot receiver type tight end, right? This is about where I have him as late 3rd round, right? I'm not too high on Harold Fanning at all, but as a luxury pick for Seattle, a guy that Noah Fant's kind of not primed to be who they thought he was. I think last year they gave him a 3-year contract, so he's got 1 more year after this coming year, right? He had 48 receptions for 500 yards and 1 touchdown last year. At 28 years old, they can move off of Noah Fant after a year. Harold Fanning's the guy. I think I like that. Again, I don't mind a running back. It's just their running back room. I understand they're injured. They're so good.
Yeah.
Like K9's there, Charbonnet. They have that little Georgia guy. Was it McIntosh? Kenny McIntosh is still there.
McIntosh, yeah.
Yeah.
Talk me out of it.
So I understand. Like I'm a huge Devin Neal guy. I think Devin Neal's so explosive, right? So I don't mind Devin Neal, but I think Harold Fanning would get the most value per se out of this luxury pick.
I'm cool with that.
Yeah, and then we're only doing, so this is our last pick, but I still think there would be a better not a better running back, but a running back that they could select in case of injuries later in the draft class. Like I think
Yeah.
this running back class is uber deep.
Yep. Cool. I like it. Let's do it. And that is it. So now it's going to analyze our draft. We'll see what PFF has to say. We'll see what we have to say as we kind of go over and review that here.
Come on, PFF.
All right. PFF is going to give us a B plus. I'm not too mad about that. As you look at here at our picks, obviously taking James Pierce Jr. I think this is a really good value pick. I mean, if he falls to pass here at the 18, that's a no-brainer. That's similar to almost like what happened with Jalen Carter, like the Jalen Carter slide. And this is a huge slide to go on my team. And obviously, what Jalen Carter did off the field was way worse than anything James Pierce Jr. has done off the field. So the fact that is even an issue is kind of mind-boggling to me. I love the Jaden Higgins value pick there, and with the round 2, and then obviously our second round 2 pick here, Demetrius Knight, solid. We attacked the interior offensive lineman and gave an additional weapon here on offense. So I think, as far as 3 rounds go, I find me a better one. This looks pretty solid. I mean, addressed clear needs, got clearly better. I think if the first 2 rounds went this way, even if you want to say maybe there's like a different player, same position, different player, depending on actually how the board falls on draft day, obviously, because it's different. But I still think what we got here for the value for players, position wise, is fantastic.
Yeah. I like how this. I think this went better than mine because again, I think we started off on a better foot, right? I don't know anyone that's arguing that Mike Green is better than James Pierce. Right? I think James Pierce is a top 5 caliber type player in this draft class. I don't think he's going to be selected top 5. Jaden Higgins, I noticed as we were doing our wide receiver rankings and researching that PFF doesn't love him as much as they should. Like I don't know what's not to love about Jaden Higgins, right? He's just not NFL ready, I guess, right now. But like behind Cooper Kupp, and we didn't even mention they have JSN. JSN's going to get 100% of the targets. Like that guy's a stud. So this is just a potential guy to be your X receiver in years coming. Demetrius Knight's there, right? From based off of what you said about him and how PFF graded us an A+, I kind of like that pick, right? I think they do need, to me, it's just about building Seattle back to that Legion of Boom days, and that Legion of Boom was anchored with Bobby Wagner. Maybe Demetrius Knight Jr. could come in and be our Bobby Wagner in this team. I don't know anything about interior line, but addressed the need there with Tate Ratledge, and then got a weapon in the passing game for our quarterback of right now in Sam Darnold with Harold Fanning Jr. I absolutely love this for Seattle.
Yep. Love that. I love that. Well, definitely let us know in the comments your thoughts here on our 3-round mock draft. Let us know, your thoughts here about position-wise, player-wise. Did we draft the right positions? Did we draft the right players? Definitely let us know who you would have drafted here in the plays and your overall thoughts in the comments. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, and make sure you check out our other mock drafts here on All Things Football. So this wraps up the Seattle Seahawks 3-round mock draft, and we'll catch you next time here on All Things Football.